This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, health, tax, professional advice. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liability that may arise from the use of this podcast. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or management. This podcast may contain adult themes, so therefore parental discretion is advised. Welcome to the Modern Tigers Two Woman Unplugged podcast. As part of our mentoring role, we seek resources and support designed to help women thrive. Today, we delve in a topic that touches the life of countless mothers, yet remain enveloped in silence and stigma: perinatal depression. Yes, our guest today is Asha Putran. I'm sure if I mispronounce her name, you can correct it. Thank you. She is a distinguished perinatal depression coach. You know, in this world that is so demanding, women are all things to all people. So she brings a message of self-compassion and community care, advocating for a shift in how we support mothers before, during, and after birth. So, my guest, would you mind pronouncing your name properly for me in case I mispronounced it, and to expand on your credentials for me, please? Thank you.
Sure, Lorna. Welcome, everybody. My name is Asha Putran, and I'm a perinatal depression coach, as Lorna just introduced me. My work is with women who are facing stress, overwhelm, anxiety during the periods of having conceived their child, having given birth to their child, and a period of time after having given birth. So I work with women facing any of these symptoms to help overcome them through the principles of yoga and Ayurveda, and to help them recover, especially women who are working and balancing their careers and motherhood at the same time.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, what exactly are the early signs of perinatal depression? And how does how does it manifest itself, and why you think it sometimes goes unnoticed?
The initial symptoms of perinatal depression are feelings of sadness, feelings of guilt, and feeling detached from their baby, either the baby in their womb or the child in their arms, feeling detached from them, and a feeling of guilt that they're not being themselves, they're not able to fulfill the role of a mother, detachment from society, not being able to fulfill their duties at work, feelings of underconfidence, lack of self-esteem, and a basic communication gap between themselves and their partners and their family members. You can feel themselves distancing themselves from their regular routines, from what they used to be before and what they have now become, which is a bit of an introvert natured human being with more thoughts to themselves than the ones that they're able to express outside with their friends and family, keeping a lot to themselves, being withdrawn, feeling sad all the time, crying for no reason. These are early symptoms of perinatal depression.
Wow. So how does this differ? I mean, you gave a lot a few minutes ago, but sometimes women just have babies. So, she's going through a baby blues. Her baby blues
That's right.
period. So how does this differ? I know you gave a lot, but how does it differ from the baby blues symptoms and what you just described?
That's right. The baby blues are these feelings of sadness for a shorter period of time, some mood imbalances, some emotional ups and downs that a mother feels, and which is quite natural and quite common for the first week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, 2 months even, but not longer than that. And this is mostly owing to the hormonal imbalances in the body at the time of the birth, and so they naturally, when the hormones tend to balance, these symptoms naturally tend to disappear, versus the symptoms of perinatal depression would continue for a far longer period, for months and even years after childbirth. There's also postnatal depletion that women feel for years after giving birth. So, perinatal depression, these are symptoms that don't go away and could actually require therapy or medical intervention. While baby
Wow,
blues can go away without any help and they would normalize when the hormones normalize.
wow. This is so interesting. This is a very interesting topic because I might be walking around with my perinatal symptoms still, and I'm not even aware based on what you're saying. Because I mean, if it isn't treated, then that means that you're still carrying the traits or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what role does self-compassion plays in managing perinatal depression? Self-compassion.
Self compassion plays a huge role in the recovery of a mother facing perinatal depression because the very first feeling that a mother has is that she has somehow been lacking in her role and she has not been able to play out her role as a good mother, as an ideal mother. More than anybody else, she has fallen short of her own expectation. So, self compassion plays an immense role in her road to recovery. So, self compassion starts with her saying that she has been doing her best, and this is what she has been able to do for her child, and she needs to be compassionate towards herself, and then she would be well on her way to recovery. Self care, self compassion, taking care of her own needs, not unlike you being on a plane and you're being given a mask at the time of an emergency. You first help yourself, put your mask on, and then you try to help the person next to you. Very similarly, if the mother is not able to give more of herself to her child, it's because there is something that is lacking for her. She has not had enough time to recover from a huge task that she has just completed of giving birth. Her body is depleted, her mind is under a lot of stress. There is a lot of sleeplessness that mothers often face when they have newborns to take care of. Self compassion is very important, and it begins with her saying that she has done her absolute best. She she cares more for her little one than probably anybody else in the world. And with a little bit of self compassion, she can begin to recover from perinatal depression. She can begin to get back to her routine, get back to being her original self, her old self, and just bond with the child a lot more easily instead of feeling that she has not done enough. And this self compassion is something that she needs to recognize that she needs for herself, and the others around her need to also show the mother along with the care for the baby. The requires equal importance, equal amount of time needed to recover from perinatal depression as well as just the act of giving birth. Then she's well on her way to recovery. So self compassion is everything. If I forgive myself from just the expectation that I need to be this ideal mother with a healthy child who's not crying all the time, who's not falling ill, who doesn't have colic, who I completely understand, and who's laughing and giggling all the time. There are these false images that mothers have. That could be the social media or the social pressure that they feel around themselves that they need to be. They need to let go of that image and just do their best and just realize that they're already doing their best. With that self compassion, they're on their way to recovery.
I remember when I gave birth to my first child, my daughter. I had C-section. All my children are
Mm.
C-section. And
Mm.
so I was allowed to spend 3 months at home at the
Mm.
time. And she was basically being breastfed all along. And then when I had to take her to the nursery, it was a problem. She didn't want, she didn't want anything other than the breast. And then when I do, extract it, she didn't want it from the bottle. And I felt so
Mm.
bad. And I used to take my lunchtime and go around the nursery, just to feed her, to make sure that but the persons were telling me she's not gonna die of hunger. When she's hungry, she would eat, she would drink. But I felt so bad. I understand that part of it. It's like if
Absolutely.
going back to
Moms are
work.
so hard on themselves. Moms are so
Yeah,
hard on themselves, and you only had 3 months' time, and you were still doing your very best.
right.
C-section, the mothers are made to feel guilty at so many instances. You said you had a C-section birth. Both my
Yes.
children were also C-section births.
Yeah.
And I felt extremely guilty, especially the first time around when I faced perinatal depression, that I was not strong enough to have given birth vaginally, that it was not a
Yeah.
natural birth, and so maybe I was not strong enough, and maybe it was bad for the child in some way to not go through the birth canal, because there's supposed to
Yeah.
be healthy gut bacteria which helps the child in its immunity when you give birth
Right.
naturally. There was so
Hmm.
much guilt around that area, and
Yeah.
there's so many mothers who can't breastfeed naturally. Then they'd
Yeah.
carry that guilt that they have to give bottle feed to their children. Just like
Right.
you said, I felt guilty at that time. Mothers set a very high standard for themselves, and they really
Yes.
need to cut
Yes.
themselves some slack and say
Yes.
that what they've done, what they're doing is the best. And when they start there, they're able to be even better. Instead of saying, I couldn't do this or I didn't do that, and or comparing themselves with other moms, especially once they see on social media where you know that most of them put up happy pictures. They don't put up the sad pictures or the reality
Yeah,
of
that's true.
dirty
That's
diapers
true.
and a messy house. Nobody puts that up on social
No, no,
media. Well,
no.
that is the reality.
Yeah. You know, the thing about going back to work too is like you're switching role. Your mom, you get to
Mhm.
focus on your child all along, and now you're going back into the boardroom. You have to be putting on your boardroom hat. You have to
Mhm.
putting out your masculine energy to deal with to deal with staff and all of that. What impact does that have on your profession? Being a mom and trying to balance both things. What's the impact?
Well, we need to take a step back and address that question. The modern woman, compared to the mothers of our time, who were working, but a lot of them were stay-at-home moms and super moms in either cases. We have an image to fulfill of what our mothers were and what was expected of them. If that is what is expected of us, that's an awful lot. At the same time, most of us have been career women. So most of our lives we've done everything to excel in our careers. And
Mm-hmm.
now suddenly we've just gone through a huge change. Our bodies went through a huge change where our uterus literally went from the size of a walnut to the size of a watermelon, and it has to shrink back. All of us were focused on how we looked in the boardroom, how we spoke in the boardroom, how we acted in that boardroom, while everything has now taken a stand back because our authority was questioned when this little creature came into our lives and said that you don't really know what you're doing. So our confidence is a little shaken, to say the best, to say the least. And that really sort of shakes our confidence to the core. And when you go back into an environment where your heart is pulling you back and you it wants to be with the child for longer and
Yes,
longer,
yes.
but in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months time you're back at work, you have to you most of them are still breastfeeding, so you're taking breaks out to go and pump milk,
Pump,
and you're
yes.
trying to rush back, you're rushing back to the child as soon as you can, you're working from home as long as you can. But at the same time, if you are working from home, you're not able to give the focus that you can at work, that you need to. Every time the child cries, people will hand the baby back to you, even if there are people taking care of the child at home. And if you're at work, you're thinking of the child, and your confidence level stakes, that break that you've taken, only we women know how it has mattered in our careers. A 3 month break, a 6 month break. If you take a few days leave and you go back, all your work is waiting for you piled up.
Oh, yes. Oh,
And in
yes.
6 months' time, it feels like we have lost a few years of our career. And we need to work extra hard to gain that back. But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't really happen. We have to face the impression that everybody else has is she is a returning mother. Some of them are compassionate towards you, but most of them seem to be harder on that mother, saying that you need to show yourself and prove yourself all over again. So that's where a mother begins her journey in the career. She restarts her journey. A 6 month maternity break is like a project manager starting at a lower level than she was in her career
Yes.
before,
Yes.
while she is trying to juggle her role as a mother, because you cannot separate a mother from a woman. So she will carry those skills, and that's wonderful confidence of her will come back, but not straight away. Especially if you have been facing perinatal depression, then the feelings of confidence has been shaken to some extent. Your self-esteem has taken a hit. You have just faced a situation where you have felt that you've fallen short of your own expectations if nobody else's. And if it is a situation where you have felt that the other people have been critiquing you of all these things that you have not been able to do, not in that case, when she goes back to her work environment, she, even if it is not that case, she feels that there are others critiquing her. There is criticism in them, that they are harder on her, that she's not able to get back to her routine work as easily. So she herself feels that she's not able to give her best, that makes her not give her best. So that's pretty much what I have observed in women saying that I don't feel so confident anymore. I don't feel like speaking up in the meetings, especially in that work from home culture that we have now, where people are on Zoom meetings. I don't want to talk up. I don't want to be heard because I feel like people will not value what I have to say because I have lost out on 6 months of information that has happened in the office environment. I don't know what has been happening. I don't know when to speak up. This is a common theme of women who reported back to me when I asked them, what is it that you're facing at your work? What is it that you're not able to balance? They feel like they have lost a few months of information of what has been happening in the office situation. And so they feel like I need to still gain back my trust in my colleagues, in my peers, in my managers. I need to build back that trust and I need to work extra hard. More than a 9 to 5 job, there are women who are trying to do certifications to prove themselves that they are still upskilled. So they are just trying to prove themselves all over again, despite the fact that it was just a few months break that they took. That's what I
Yes.
felt when I've been speaking to my clients.
And what you say is so right because not, oh, 9 out of 10 times somebody is filling in for you. And when they come, they just drop everything. They give you like half an hour high level overview of the things that is there to do. And you just like you have to be taking a sieve and going through and seeing, reading back the months before emails to get a proper understanding of where the thing, where we really are with this particular task. So
Yeah,
I understand. And at the same time, you have to be keeping up with the stuff that you're now getting since you're back, you know?
true.
Yeah,
True.
so
And if your break has been longer, the longer you're away from your work, the harder it gets to get back to your original career line, career progression. It
yeah.
just seems to be so much harder, especially if women have taken a longer break of a few years from the time that they gave birth till taking care of their little ones, they become toddlers, and then they go back to work. They're almost starting back from scratch. I'm from the IT world where the information technology works so quickly that you literally need
Changes.
to pick up new skills.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how it is in other professions.
Yeah,
There are some
yes.
who, yeah, just about everybody is reporting back the same to me. The longer the break that they take, it's
Mm-hmm.
almost as if they're restarting their career right from year one.
Yes, yes. And then when they get some of them complain that when they get evaluations, they give them a low eval. But how can you give somebody a low eval for a period that they were half of the period they weren't physically there? You should be evaluated on the period that you when you come back. Not you know what I mean?
That's right.
So there's
That's right.
there's some disjoint and there's something that really needs to be looked at when it comes to evaluations. They seem to be very what it's not it isn't really transparent. You don't really understand. You only been told that
Yeah,
okay, you didn't meet this, you didn't meet that. I couldn't meet this and that because I wasn't here. Evaluate me on what, since I've come back the 1st of September to through to December when that's my evaluation period. Not
yeah,
the period when I was out on maternity leave. So
true, true,
yes, so they really need to really take a look at things like that, the transparency of how people are being evaluated when they come back from maternity leave.
true, true.
Yeah.
The discrimination starts for women even from the time that they have conceived.
Oh,
So
yes.
I've heard women telling me that my clients who come and tell me that they face discrimination from the time that they started the job, when if they were married, then the managers look at it in a certain manner that in a couple of years down the line they are going to go on their maternity leave. So when they say that they are going to take maternity leave, they're not given the opportunities, even either before conception or especially since if they hesitate to let people know that they have conceived because they lose out on opportunities. If it's a larger opportunity which is going to go carry on for a few months, a
Yeah.
male colleague is preferred to the female in consideration that they may need to go on their leave or they are not able to do their jobs in some way or fashion or the other. They get discriminated from that angle itself. So they go on their leaves, they come back, they're once again given assignments. The preference is to give that to the male counterparts than women because they have little babies at home and they may not be able to give anything more than the 9 to 5 that they're committed to. So these are the different levels of discrimination that women face. That's very real even today.
In the United States, we have like anything else. You have to prove that you have been discriminated against, and sometimes it's very hard because the things are sort of subtle. Somebody's gonna give a male, they're gonna give a male, and they can find anything they want to say why that male is given the project as opposed to
True.
you, because everything is subjective. Everything,
Correct.
yeah, so
Correct.
so that's where the issue is. So what practical steps can your moms take to be kinder to themselves during the postpartum um period? I know you touched on some things already, but in the work environment, what steps can they take in the work environment, the new moms?
Lorna, what I have observed and what I recommend highly is that mothers build a routine around themselves that helps them to fall back on every single day. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important to plan your day, and that is something that Ayurveda recommends as well. Ayurveda is an ancient Indian science which has recommendations for daily practices,
Mm-hmm.
and this says that the daily routine known as dinacharya goes like this: you start your day an hour or even earlier than sunrise. And I completely understand that women are sleep deprived, and getting as much sleep as possible is something that I would love to do myself. But
Yeah.
it is recommended that you start your day a little earlier than you usually do so that you can plan your day, so that you can journal your thoughts. There are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things that you carry over from the previous day which could be negative and which could ill affect your day. So, journal those thoughts and begin with a positive attitude. Sit and meditate for a few minutes. Do some breathing exercises, physical movements for your body early in the morning after you've finished your detoxification, your cleansing practices, your brushing, your other things that you do to cleanse your body. Sit down, meditate, exercise, move your body. That releases hormones in your body that pretty much straighten up the rest of your day. It's like giving yourself a super boost right in the morning. Allow yourself to plan your day, and like, if you've heard this, eat the frog. Do your hardest task, which is the most productive, which will give you the most results. First thing of the day, get it out of the way instead of procrastinating because you can't afford to procrastinate. If you leave it for the end of the day, you'll get a call from the daycare saying your child is not well, come pick it up, come pick your baby up. So you're better off finishing your hardest task, face it head on. And there are resources in the office nowadays. There are employee assistance programs in almost every major organization. Make full use of that. There are flexible work arrangements that can be availed, especially, and this is especially, no, this is for every mother, but for a mother facing perinatal depression, give yourself some slack, cut yourself some slack. Just give yourself a little bit of extra support through these systems. Have a talk with your manager, change request the HR to change your manager if they are very inflexible towards your needs, because work is good, work is priority, but your mental health is first. It's far more than anything else because it all begins with your mental wellness. then your physical wellness, your spiritual wellness, and then when your cup is full, you can be your best and it can flow over into your work, into your personal life. So avail all of these support services that are made available to you, and then see if you can take pull back from work a little, so you can slowly pick up work little by little. Do those other things which I just mentioned with respect to the routine. Improve your diet, improve your exercise routine. Have an exercise routine in the first place, because we don't get any younger, our bodies get older, and the one thing that'll improve it is something that everybody knows but everybody neglects. You need to exercise, you need to eat well, there's no getting out of it.
Yeah.
Find something which is healthy and tasty and eat those good food, easily preparable good food. Move, exercise, give yourself some mental clarity, some relaxation through meditation and some breathing exercises. All these things are what Ayurveda recommends. We have a proper program to take mothers through. It's a 6 week program which we take them through, and I would recommend we do quicker modules where we teach them that these are the basic tools that you need to do. Once you set it into your routine, into your daily lives, then you are well on your way to recovery.
Um, I've always done it, and in regards to getting up early in the morning. I go to my bed early. I'm normally in my bed by 8:39, and even if I'm not gonna sleep, I just like to shower, just relax, and know, my day
Yeah.
is done and I can do whatever I want to do. And then I get up. I'm normally up by 3 o'clock because I go to bed
Wow.
early. Yeah. And that's the time I do my devotion. I do my God, my God thing. I do that. And then after I do that, I start to look at what I need to do in regards to my job, my work. And then I go through, I normally tend to do the low hanging fruits, get rid of them quick, just get all
Mm-hmm.
those emails and whatever. And now we know have technology. You can do the email from 3 o'clock in the morning and it doesn't release until 8 o'clock. But 8 o'clock, you can preset it. So do all those low hanging fruits, get them out. And then I tackle the frog I called to you. I tackle the frog. Whatever I know that's gonna take a long time, I tackle that. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
normally when my work day actually starts at 8:30, I'm ahead of the game already. I have
Great.
things sorted out
Great.
already. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if you
Oh,
don't start off with your office tasks, you can give yourself a head start. You can
mm-hmm.
plan it out and say that these are the things that are in front of me, and if I finish these, then my day has been productive. On the other hand, if you start your day without any preparation, you're just being reactive. You're just firefighting the whole day. Something comes up, you delve into that. Something else comes up, then you go into that. Something else comes up. And I've done both. And I've seen the difference between planning it out and what happens, what is the benefit of both these lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
So I far prefer one where I'm ready for what's coming and things going my way versus me going the way things pull me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because about 35 or 40% of my job has to do with answering phone and doing firefighting and fires and all kind of stuff. So you don't know what kind of animal you can meet up in the morning when the phone start ringing. So if you can get rid of all of these things that are there, as I said, the hanging fruits, get rid of them and then get yourself mentally prepared. I've done all of this. So if anything happens, anything that I need to take care of, I'm there. I can do it quickly. But
True.
what I want to dive into is support. Support.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, when I had my first child, I was in I come from Jamaica, so I was living in Jamaica at the time. I'm now in the US. And I had an extended family. My grandmother was there and my
Wow.
mother was there. So we had
That's
extended
beautiful.
family in the same, living. So although I had C-section, I had the support of my family and the baby for me. They helped me to walk. C-section is not an easy thing. The pain is really after. So
I,
yeah, you
I
have to
know.
learn how to walk and all of that stuff. So I had the extended family, but what I notice over here is that we don't have any extended family anymore. Because, like for me, my children are in different states. I'm here by myself. So the thing about it is that I think it's harder for a woman to get the support. Sometimes it's just a spouse you're going to be depending on, and some of them are limited in what they are willing to do. You know what I mean?
True,
They work already and they gonna come home. They don't want to be changing pampers. They don't want to be bathing baby. They don't want to be doing all of that. But the reality is that you've done your 9 to 5 too, and you have to come home and cook, and then you still have to do all the baby duties too. So
true.
I think it's important for the men to be sensitized, the men to realize that if you don't support this woman, she's gonna crash.
Exactly. You bring up a very important point, Lorna. Absolutely, the support is it's like a handshake or a clap. You need
Mm-hmm.
both hands. You need both hands for that activity to complete. You
Mm-hmm.
need support from the spouse and from the community that is around the mother in the form of friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
And that needs to be built up around the time that you have conceived. They say that it takes a village to raise a child, and that is so true. And it takes a village for the mother to recover and completely get back into her original self as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
be it C-section or a natural birth, C-section is particularly hard for recovery right after because there's a
Yes,
lot of it's a major life-threatening operation. So
yes.
your body has been through so much. Your mind goes
Mm-hmm.
through so much. And if you
Right.
don't have the necessary support, you will not be able to recover as easily as you can if you are lucky enough to have that community around you. So I would say, for the sake of your child and for yourself, build that community around yourself as early as you can. When you know that you have conceived, that you're going to have a child, make sure that the people that you want in the life of your child and in your own life are close to you, are closer to you than they are in this modern world and in today's life where it's a nuclear family, where you don't talk to your neighbors, where your family is in different cities and different countries and
Right.
across the world. It's up to the father and the mother to take the onus on themselves and bring this community and build it around them. There are other fathers and mothers, there are online support communities. Reach out to them, make sure that you have enough friends when there is an event in the life of the child. For example, in our community, it was exactly the way you said it. For both my children, I despite the fact that I faced perinatal depression, which was for certain reasons, especially I thought that I would have a natural birth, and then I had a C-section, and then it was so painful, and instead of lying down and feeding the child, I was expected to sit down and feed the child, and that was excruciatingly painful because I had to feed for an hour minimum every time I sat down to feed, and I would just hand the baby over and crash. So all these physical situations help sort of brought upon the depression on me. It could be different circumstances for different mothers, but I did have the support. That's the important part. I had the support of my mother, my aunts. They were
Mm-hmm.
there around me for a short period of time. And if other women also get the support, the trend says that if you have the support around you, the chances of mental illness is lesser versus people who have to do everything by themselves, especially them and their spouses, and they're not ready. Everybody says, when are you getting married? When are you having a baby? Nobody says, have a baby, I'll come and babysit. I'll help you out with the baby. Nobody says that. But then it is, what do you do as a mom and a dad? You can do things to make sure that people are still part of your life. 40th day, a little ritual I would like to share with you, Lorna. On the 40th day after the child is born, we have a naming ceremony for the little one.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the day when the child is officially allowed to meet everybody in the community. There would be people coming to visit the baby, but that day, 40th day onwards, when the mother has had sufficient time to recover, the baby is slightly more immune to germs and other things. That
Right.
is when considered auspicious to have a ceremony where the child is shown to everyone and then an auspicious name is chosen for the little one, and we invite everybody. It's like a little, it's the first, it's like a birthday for the baby. So the little ceremonies like this make your community involved with you. They know that there is a baby in the house versus other little systems where I've seen people go up to their neighbors in their apartments and sort of apologize that we have a baby in the house, it'll be noisy around here, so we are sorry. So that's not the attitude that you go with. Instead, you say, we have a new baby in our house, we have a new community member, we welcome you with open arms. Feel free to be part of our community. You're welcome into our homes so that they feel welcome to come and visit you, the child. Your friends also need not be ostracized. We have a baby now, we cannot be social with you. That's expected. But at the same time, if you could welcome them to your homes, they would feel, they would know the child, they would perhaps, instead of just give you baby shower gifts and just be say tata bye bye, they would be welcomed into your family, they would be part of the child's life, then they would have their children or they already have their children who they would bring along to socialize with the little one. And that social interactions we as human beings need, just like we need to breathe, we need to be social with other human beings, and then we can talk to the mothers and get some valuable tips around how to take care of the child, because the baby does not come with a basic 101 manual. So it has to come from other mothers. It has to come from other fathers, so that the fathers can socialize and figure out why the mom is suddenly moody and upset and guilty and withdrawn into herself. Maybe the other fathers have experienced the same with the other mothers. Maybe they can just, as a human being, cash in on the one quality that we have: communication, communicate with each other, get that social support from others, from your partner. I spoke about the community. I've left out the part about the partner and the spouse, the two couple involved there. They need
Mm-hmm.
to have an open communication the entire time. Whatever little the father can do, he needs to do. Whatever he can do, even if he does not want to change. That was the agreement that I had with my husband. He does not like to change diapers, but he will do everything else. He'll feed the child,
Right.
he'll, every time the child cries, he'll try to soothe and pacify the child. He's not okay with diapers. Fine, he's not okay with diapers. There might be some other agreement that you need to come up with your spouse. But I'll come home, I'll pay the bills, where I will sit and watch TV while you struggle with the 9 to 5 job and the cooking and the cleaning and the baby. That's just
Too
insane
much.
expectation of a mother. A
Mm-hmm.
mother is a human being too. There's only so much that she can physically do. And 6 months is literally not enough to recover from the huge change that your body has gone through just now. And if you're facing perinatal depression, that's like you're walking with a big rock on your head all the time. So that weight needs to be shared, and that's when it goes out.
Mm-hmm.
Community and support is everything. Go online for the resources that you need. Go on play dates with other women and other mothers and little children. Be more social. That is crucial in recovery if you are facing perinatal depression. It, if the mother is unable to do this, then it falls on the duty falls on the spouse to try and do these exact same steps that I mentioned. Build that community, reach out to people, get resources to understand those symptoms that the mother is going through, and help her in that time so that she can get back to normalcy.
I like what you said. I think before a woman conceives, even if she's married, she needs to speak to her partner, because it's not her baby, it's their baby. So
That's
I
right.
think that really should have a conversation before you even get pregnant. What is going to be your role? That they intended surprise. I'm pregnant and he doesn't want to help me do this. I'm pregnant. No, you need to sit down and you know talk about it, and
Well said.
everybody know what the expectation is. That when this baby come, no, it isn't a surprise, because culturally some men don't want to do quote unquote woman work.
True.
A lot of it is cultural. We don't sweep house. We
Yeah.
don't. just stuff like that. That's woman's work.
Yes.
But you can't,
Yeah,
especially living in the United States of America, there's no woman work or no man work. It's work, period. You know what I mean?
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And if
So,
we are not expected, if we are expected to do all the homely duties, then we shouldn't have to go to work.
that's
If we
another
have to go,
story. How the bill's gonna pay? If you
yeah,
hardly can find one working
one
one
income.
person working,
Yeah,
and you can't do at the same standard. Something's gonna
yeah,
give. Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. If you're
yeah.
expected to work, not that women want to sit at home the entire time. That is not how our generation was brought up, isn't it, Lorna? We studied as
No,
equals to boys
yeah.
in the school. We worked with all the men at work as
Oh
equals. We've been
yes.
equal the entire time. So when we have our children,
Work
it's
harder too.
equal.
We work
Yeah.
harder to reach.
That being the case, it's just natural that we expect you to be your 100% at home. It's not an easy ask, but it's necessary.
Yeah, but as I said, it's a discussion that needs to be done, and a serious discussion, just
I
like
agree.
anything else. Before you get married, you talk about the financial thing, you talk about, you know, how you plan to retire. We talk about the all of those things. So we should talk about what's gonna happen when this baby comes. What are the rules? What are the
Right.
expectations? Yeah.
That's
Yes,
right.
that needs to be a topic, you know?
It needs to be. It needs to
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
How will
yeah.
you contribute as the father? Because, well, the good thing that I'm seeing nowadays is that the roles of the father has changed to some extent compared
A
to
lot
the
of
traditional
stay-at-home fathers, a lot of stay-at-home fathers are here now.
stay-at-home fathers. Even if they're working, they're still a little lot more present in their children's life than our fathers used to be. Because 9 to 5 is 9 to 5. When they come back home, they know that their wives are not their mothers. The mothers were super moms to some extent, I feel, but
Oh
the
yes.
wives, the wives are more their counterparts than equals to their mother. It hasn't been an easy journey. It hasn't been a simple journey. Suddenly we're expected to be both moms and wives and
Yeah.
colleagues and everything in. If you imagine the Indian goddess with her numerous arms and all those duties, I think I think the fathers need to be the same. There's no choice. There's no way out of it. The baby needs it. The mom needs it. They need to
Yeah.
step up. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
communication. You bring up a very good point. It's not that when the baby comes, these conversations should happen. It should happen before. I remember asking my husband this question: "We have a good life. We have an easy life. Are you sure you want a child? It's not
There
an
you
easy
go.
thing."
There you go. That returnable.
I had that question because I had my child in my 30s. By that time, I had 10 years of time when I had seen all my friends have their children and struggle, and they kept saying how difficult it was. My
Mm-hmm.
husband had no idea comparatively because his friends were only just getting married. But I had seen my friends through 10 years of
Right.
everything that they had gone through. They had lost their
Mm-hmm.
identities, and they would tell me that Asha, your life is so easy, and I envy that. And I myself thought a little before having a child and said that, do we need children? If so, how are we going to go about it? And he said, I will support you through everything. And he has, thankfully. But having a child is a whole other ball game. It's very different. Children
Yeah.
nowadays are, I don't, children are born different, or we are not ready for it. I think we're not ready for it. Yeah,
Different.
most
Different.
moms and dads are not ready for the
No.
responsibilities that a little one brings in a nuclear environment.
Yes. Yes. All attention turns to them. you know.
Yeah,
And as I said before, most of us don't have the extended family anymore because we have
true,
migrated. So, we leave our parents and our grandparents in our country of origin. So we don't have
true,
that. And some of us are fortunate to probably have a church family where, in the church that will help you, you develop relationship in the church and that will help you. But other than that, as you correctly say, you have to go out there and find the village.
a virtual
You
village.
have to go there
I
and
mean,
create the village.
yeah, the baby needs
Yeah,
it. I would say
yeah.
the little one needs. Just imagine this situation. Probably you knew it, Lorna. When we
Mm-hmm.
were growing up, how did we grow up? We grew up in a neighborhood where we knew our neighbors,
Oh,
where we
yes.
had, yeah, we had different festivals, we had different customs where we used to go to their houses, exchange gifts, exchange food items. We used to go and pray in their houses. They used to come over to our house for different functions,
There you go.
different ceremonies. We knew our neighbors, we played with them, we played with their children. It was relatively, our parents used to leave us with our neighbors for hours together to do a chore, to do some work, come back, and their children would, most of the time, I would say, be perfectly safe and happy and healthy in their house. And
Right.
they would come. And it's nearly unimaginable now. I barely know my two neighbors, the person on the left and the person on the right. We say hi and bye to. And the rest of the neighborhood, I have no clue who's where.
Yeah,
It
I came from an environment similar to yours, where everybody knew everybody. And if I'm making a mischief on the street or doing anything naughty, the neighbor can say, "Lorna, you're not supposed to do that." And I said, "Okay, I'm sorry," but she goes and tell my mom, and my mom says, Auntie Bev saw you on the road, and she said that you was being naughty. So by the time is as I said before, it's a village. Everybody helps each other. You know.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
so I grew up in an environment like that. So this was sort of a culture shock when I come over here, and I'm like, what? Nobody, no, some of the neighbors don't even look at you. They hold their head straight. You know,
Yes.
it's like you're transparent to them. So
Yeah, I
it's sort of
completely
hard.
agree.
It's sort of hard. It's sort of hard, but it's hard, but it's doable. As I said, I think for me, the church environment is a great place to start to develop contact and to develop friends and to forge bonds, because some church, I know that some church, what they do, they like for couples, they would have a function like a movie night or something like that, and the children will come into the church environment and have a
Mm-hmm.
thing inside there for them. They're safe inside there, and the parents are allowed to go out and have a date night. Just
Mm-hmm.
to pay, in a safer environment, the children in a safer environment, and the parents can go out and have a date night, do something,
Right.
as a couple. So
True.
that helps too. Even it's not. I mean, it can be just it's not going to be every month, but probably quarterly or something like that. I think we have to wrap
Absolutely.
up soon. I think where are we now? Okay, all right then. So all right.
Did
What
you get to
what?
cover most of the questions?
Hmm?
Did we cover most of the questions?
I'm gonna. No, we have a lot left. A lot left. I'm just gonna pick some out of the last part. All right, because
Sounds
it's yeah, yeah. Okay. So, what advice would you have for professional women who feel pressured in returning to work? They're feeling pressured. What advice?
We covered some of those points before. Like I said, there are resources that are available to a new mother returning back to work.
Oh yes, yes.
First, it would be good for her to prioritize when she needs to go back to work. There's an analogy that I like to give with glass balls, jug, and rubber balls. So
Mm-hmm.
your life is like a game that you're juggling all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the balls of career, health, family, child, they're all different. The ball, which is goes by the name career, is a rubber ball. You can afford to
Right,
drop it, it will bounce back. But
right.
your health is a glass ball. If you
Oh
drop
yeah.
it, it cracks open, it breaks. So there's no, once you prioritize when you want to go back, please use the resources available to you to the maximum.
Mm-hmm.
Can you work from home more often? Do you want to work from home, or is it easier for you to be at work so that you can be more productive? Do a
Right.
9 to 5, return home 100%. Definitely leave your work back at work. Come back, be with your baby. Don't carry it back so that every few minutes you're checking your phone. I'm guilty of doing this myself. We just need to really stop doing that. Fathers, mothers. I just had a conversation with my husband, Lorna. We're like, when we are with our children, we should lock our phones away.
Jesus.
So just, yeah, so just
All right.
prioritize what you need. Talk to your boss.
Mm-hmm.
Ask him in the initial months, I would like to take on lesser responsibilities. As and when you build your confidence and your self esteem is back at the level that you need to operate, then you
Mm-hmm.
can take up your regular jobs. A lot of them are understanding, provided you communicate right from the beginning what is your circumstance and why is it that you're asking for some lenience to be made in your case. They
Right.
would be understanding. Versus if you just keep it within you,
Mm-hmm.
the other person is not, maybe they're not giving you work thinking that you need some time off or you need to give them lesser work of lesser responsibilities in the beginning. It could be
Mm-hmm.
their way of trying to help you out instead of discrimination, but you could be viewing it as discrimination, or maybe they're actually discriminating and you need to talk up and go to those employee assistance programs saying that I am being discriminated against
Right.
and I need
Right.
intervention. The circumstance would vary, the reaction needs to be different as well. There are, yeah, just
Yeah. Yeah.
use the employee assistance programs and proceed.
I don't know if you have interaction with healthcare professionals. Do you have interaction with them in your with the
I
work that you
have,
do? Okay,
I
so how do
have,
you educate them? Because some of them don't believe this perinatal depression thing. Some of them don't. It's like, you know, it doesn't exist. They don't. But not that it doesn't exist. It's just they don't really take it as serious as if you went with something with some other ailment. You know.
the statistics in the World Health Organization says that nearly 47% of the workforce is comprised of women. So
Mm-hmm.
in the year 2024 that we are, there's literally 15 million women who have reported that they have faced depression in one form or another. So that's 15 million women. So that's nearly 1 in 7 or 10 or 15 women, depending on which part of the world you are. Some
Mm-hmm.
parts of the world you have the necessary support, it's 1 in 15, it's lesser. But if
Mm-hmm.
you don't have necessary support, no matter where you are, no matter which profession you're in, perinatal depression is a reality. If they have been facing symptoms which continue for greater than 2 months, into months and years, then you are depressed and you need to get help. You need to get therapy, you need to get counseling, you may even need medication because there are circumstances when it goes into psychosis, it goes into bipolar depression, it goes into bipolar disorder, and other serious disorders can also occur when the right support is not given to that mother who is facing perinatal depression. If you are a healthcare professional and you're saying that this is not a reality, it's not happening, then they need to see and meet more mothers who are facing it on a daily basis. If I am not able to do my duties as a mother, there are suicide rates that are going up because of this reason. Because the mother is trying to do everything by herself.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, I have been saying that ask for support, communicate. When in depression and at the peak of depression, you're not even able to communicate that this is something that you're facing. And if people around you cannot notice it in you, then it's a very bad situation for the mother, for the child, for the spouse. If it's a single mother, can you imagine? There are
Yes.
groups that I'm part of, and there are even healthcare professionals. Nurses have a terrible time. They have terrible timings that they work, and
Yes.
but we, I think they should be the forefront. They would be in the forefront to
The
identify that
voice.
there's these symptoms. They need to be the voice. They need, because if they understand and see those symptoms in themselves,
Mm-hmm.
then they can say that it's much more of a reality for another human being who is not in the medical profession, who doesn't understand these symptoms, and they
Mm-hmm.
are coming. There are two circumstances, right? People who face depression, they are prone to perinatal depression more, but people who never faced depression in the past, it hits them like a bunch of bricks, like a ton of bricks. They have no clue where these feelings of sadness, guilt, overwhelm, stress, anxiety is coming from. Where is it coming from suddenly? My body, the hormones, everything is acting up in a fashion that has affected my mental health, my mental wellness, and now I am facing an illness that has millions of other people in its grip. And
Mhm.
if I don't speak up and I don't get the help, then the first person to suffer is the child that I have.
That's true.
And that child can be susceptible to cognitive impairments later on in life. That's proven medically as well. So, women facing depression could have children who could face learning disabilities later on in life, because in that crucial period of bonding when the child is growing up, when the baby is from its infancy to its toddlerhood, the bonding of the mother, if it suffers, if the mother is not able to give her 100% to the child grows up with separation anxiety, with other issues, with learning disabilities, with cognitive impairments, and all these are proven. So if there are medical professionals saying that this is not a reality, I would really take a hard, strong look at all these women who are facing these issues and all their
Mhm.
children with all these impairments. And if you do the necessary studies, then the reality will speak for itself.
Okay. We could go on for hours. This is such an interesting topic. But as we bring this powerful conversation to a close, we hope that it has inspired you to think how we approach mental health, motherhood, and the delicate balance between personal and well-being and professional life. Remember that kindness we extend to ourselves and to others can be the difference between surviving and thriving. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and let's continue to advocate for a future where all mothers are given the support they deserve. So, just in case somebody wants to get in touch with you, could you give us your information?
Thank you, Lorna. My name is Asha Putran. I'm available at asha.putran@gmail.com. Also, if you search for my name on Facebook, I have a group for women facing perinatal depression, and I would be able to reach out to you with resources. It's ASHA, Asha, Putran, Putran. It's been lovely talking to you, Lorna. Thank you. It's
It,
been a
it's,
wonderful
it's been
conversation.
it's been my pleasure. I mean, this was such a fascinating topic. I could have gone on and on and on, but I know that I have to be cognizant of your time too. So I appreciate you and thank you very much for joining us on Mother Titus Woman Unplugged podcast. Thank you.
Pleasure's mine, Lorna. Have a
All
lovely
right.
day.
Yes.